Well, our third movie here in Theater 3, we have Good Night and Good Luck from 2005, starring David Strathairn, George Clooney, Patricia Clarkson, who's a cousin of my cousin, so we're basically related, Robert Downey Jr., and Jeff Daniels. Top
Directed
notch,
by
directed
George
by
Clooney.
George Clooney. Top notch cast there. Yeah, when I saw Patricia Clarkson, I was
Seriously,
like, yeah,
seriously,
yeah,
A+ cast.
yeah. She's my mom's first cousin's cousin, first cousin or something like that. I don't know, something
Interesting.
like that.
So she's a member of the UFP, basically.
Yeah, basically, Patricia Clarkson.
All
Yeah.
right, let's get in the trailer here. I'm gonna go run to the kitchen, grab a beer while I pop this on.
All right, I'm going to enjoy this trailer. This is a good movie. This is easily the best movie of tonight. Like Murphy and I will agree there. I'll tell you that. And a surprise. I hadn't really been.
Let me see this.
It's a loyalty oath to America.
Are you now, or have you
I
ever
thought it was a
been?
joke at first. Moreau signed it.
Mueller signed it? If you don't sign this, are you and I a target?
If I don't sign it, they'll fire me.
Mr. Acting.
10 seconds. Ready on camera, then.
Good evening.
Any man who protects communists.
This is my favorite David Strathairn performance. He's been in a lot of good
by
stuff.
rumor and hearsay and innuendo.
Are my children going to be asked to denounce me? Are they going to be judged on what their father was labeled? I see a chain reaction that has no end.
Charges were in a sealed envelope.
This is McCarthy era, the
Wouldn't
Red
you guess
Scare.
that the
Everyone's a
people who have
communist.
seen the contents of that envelope might
this
have a
is
better
the-
idea of what makes someone a danger to his country? Or do you think it should just be you that decides?
Who are the
Really
people?
well
Are they
done.
elected? Are they appointed? Is it you?
I've searched my conscience, and I can't find any justification for this.
Our next show is going to be about Senator McCarthy. We're going to go right at him.
This is back when news was news. Journalists were journalists.
We will not walk in fear one of
Because
another.
this could have been
is
in
no
last
time for men who
episode, or
oppose Senator
journalists.
McCarthy's methods.
It could
Keep
have.
silent.
Mr. Edward R. Murrow has made repeated attacks upon me
Legend.
and those fighting communists.
Somebody's going to go down.
You're going to get audited this year.
Not me, you.
McCarthy wants April 6th.
I will not be deterred.
He's going to come after me.
You understand the position you're putting us in?
Let's walk very carefully through these next few moments.
Why don't you just fire me, Bill?
Go after Joe Kennedy. We'll pay for it.
Murrow is the symbol, the leader, and the cleverest of the jackal pack, engaged in propaganda for communist causes.
Okay, fellas, here we go.
We might as well go down swinging.
We're going to go with the story, because the terror is right
Yeah.
here in this room.
10 seconds.
5, 4, 3.
Robert Downey Jr. Franklin.
We cannot
Crazy
defend
cast.
freedom abroad by deserting it at home. Good night, and good luck.
Good luck.
It's hilarious. It's just like, that's his job. But back then, you didn't even have to quit smoking your cigarette when you're doing your job as a news anchor. You can just sit there with your smoke and like do your freaking news broadcast. Smoking was so accepted back in the day. It's
So
insane.
taking on the role of our Murrow like is a heavy task because Murrow is a chain
Yeah.
smoker. Stratton is a non-smoker. He is
well, they weren't-
non-smoker.
They
Well,
wouldn't
he
have been
was
cigarettes.
apparently-
They have like
he
fake
was-
cigarettes.
They've got like you can get these like Chinese herbal cigarettes. So I'm like, man, there's been a lot of herbal cigarette smoking, but apparently from the morsels I was going through, Murrow was smoked pipe tobacco in his prop cigarettes to portray Edward R. Murrow. And apparently there's a lot of scenes where he just didn't exhale, so he's like holding in smoke and shit. So like he put himself through it to film that in that sense that he basically
He's so good in this.
became a chain
But-
smoker. Oh my god, he's so good in this film. Okay.
Everybody is. I mean, some of them aren't in it much. Robert Downey Jr. is not in it very much. Neither is Jeff Daniels. They're good at what they do.
So when the subject was TVs, and I was looking for like films about television and stuff, this one kind of came up high on the list, and I was like, okay, this could be a huge tonal shift from UHF and Stay Tuned, which it was, which
Needed.
was refreshing,
Much needed.
a much
Yep.
refreshing and needed tonal shift. One I was when prior to going into this film, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy this. This is gonna be a bit of a slag. And admittedly, my first watch through, it was a bit of a slag, and I was losing sort of my attention, and I got
Oh,
distracted, and
opposite for me.
I didn't quite follow the film. But I recognized that, and I was like, I need to watch this film again. So I did.
Oh
I
wow,
immediately watched the
double
film
down.
again. I doubled down on the film again, and on my second watch through, I was like, holy shit, this is incredible. This is an
It
incredible
is
film.
great,
From
great
like the
movie.
cinematography to
Black and white was
just
a beautiful choice, by the way. Like this movie would have
yeah.
felt out of place. It would have felt more like modern actors reenacting a, a historical time, whereas
So
whereas they
the
filmed it black
film
and
was
white, it put you right in there, man. You like you were in that world and in that time.
so the film was shot on color film on a grayscale set, right? But they desaturated it in post production and then released on black and white print stock. So I
Interesting.
mean, yeah,
So
yeah,
this movie is
interesting
up
way to
my
film it.
alley because I'm a big history buff, and so as soon as I realized, I
And
didn't
you
know
do
this
love
movie was about
journalism.
this sort of in journalism too. So yeah, this was up my alley. Like this movie had to remarkably fail for me not like to like it, and it didn't. It fired on all cylinders, and I love this movie. Yeah. So
Yeah,
let's get into this.
I was surprised. Yeah, so yeah, we start the film off with all
His cousin
smiles and
Patricia.
cousin Patricia and I forget this guy's name. I meant to look it up actually. Let me get that castle stuff so I'm not completely lost here when I'm going through my plot. Ba-ba-dee.
Just a public service announcement. We're gonna yada yada slightly more next episode on these movie breakdowns because we're still aiming to get this under 3 hours and closer to 2 hours this podcast. So
Yeah,
I yada
I'm
yada
trying
too
to.
much. Murphy's the other extreme. There's a nice middle ground in there where we'll
I'm
eventually get to.
figuring it out. I'm figuring it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Okay,
I
so
yada
yeah,
yada half the movie that angered Murphy. So now Murphy took over the role.
I'm going through maybe a bit too much detail, admittedly.
Bit too
Um,
much.
so yeah, Good Night, Good Luck is a 2005 historical drama film directed by George Clooney, who also wrote and co-starred in the film. Story set in the early 1950s during the height of the Red Scare and the anti-communist hysteria that gripped the United
Interesting
States.
though, because one of your morsels from last episode was that Clooney wanted to remake Network, which is similar to this in a way. And of course, you can't remake Network because it all came true. So maybe I wonder if this is what he went with instead.
This is so apparently he wanted to make this into like a live stage play at one point. And the other
It
thing
easily
about this
could have been. You
film,
could just have David Strathairn do it as a one-man play if you wanted to.
yeah, the other thing about this film is George Clooney's father was a journalist, and George Clooney said
Oh
that he
yeah.
was so nervous about showing this film to his dad. When his dad was done watching the film, he stood up, put his hand on George's shoulder, and he was like, "You got it right." So
Wow.
like that was George Clooney's like awesome everything I worked for. So this probably was his huge motivation to do something like Network, and
He's a good
ultimately this.
filmmaker, man, George Clooney.
Yeah. And he George Clooney plays the character of Fred Fredley, who is the producer
Friend
for
friendly, yeah.
CBS.
Oh, friend friendly. Mr.
um,
Friendly.
so yeah, the film portrays a real life conflict between CBS newsman Edward R. Murrow, played by David Stratton, and Senator Joseph
Strathairn.
McCarthy, who led the anti-communist witch hunt, which is not portrayed by any character because all of the clips
No.
of Joseph McCarthy are actual historical footage, and
Which
that
I
was
thought was a very strong choice as well.
yeah, it was a strong choice and a leading cause as to why all of this film is in grayscale and black and white, so that they could blend those real life clips in with like the TV productions that they did, and they did it to such an excellent degree. So yeah, Edward Murrow's getting basically an award at the
It's
communication.
the end of the movie,
Well,
basically.
it's
It
the
starts at
bookend of
the
the
end.
movie. It's his bookend.
Yeah.
It's bookending the movie. It's his introduction to him getting the award at this communication thing on October 25th, 1958. And he starts off his like introduction where the things he's about to say probably people aren't going to be happy about. And we cut back to October 14th in 1953. at CBS Studios, where we get which was one of my favorite cameos in Alex Bornstein showing up. She plays Natalie, a secretary character. Um, but yeah, so McCarthy led the communist witch hunt, and the movie opens with Moreau and his producers, Fred and Friendly, preparing for their weekly news program, See It Now. They decide to air a segment about an Air Force armed officer named Milo Radulovich, who is being unfairly accused of being a communist and was facing a court martial. While this is all happening, we're introduced to Robert Downey Jr.'s character, whose name is... What's his name?
Yeah, it's not super important.
Well, he's somewhat.
Yeah,
important.
they're a
Joe
married
Washaba.
couple.
Yeah, Joe Washaba is married to
Cousin Patricia.
cousin Patricia. Yeah, we'll call her cousin Patricia. So they're sort of having this inter-office affair in the day. You know, you're not allowed to be married to employees. So these guys are preparing for the segment about Air Force officer named Milo Radulovich, who was being unfairly accused of being a communist and was facing a court martial. As the segment airs, Murrow and Friendly are already being criticized by the superiors at CBS for being too critical of McCarthy, who was at the time the most powerful figure in Washington, D.C. Meanwhile,
Just because he was the loudest.
Yeah, and this actually is this leads up to probably one of. Oh no, wait, this wasn't my favorite scene. This was gonna be one of my favorite scenes, I think.
There's a
but I
lot
ended
of
up
good
going
scenes
something.
in this movie.
Yeah, yeah, I forget the line that was delivered here, but it made me like chuckle. I was like, that was a good one. This will probably be my favorite, but I ultimately went with something different. Merle and Friendly are being criticized by their superiors at CBS for being too critical of McCarthy, who was at the time most powerful figure in DC. Meanwhile, McCarthy, played by himself through archival footage, launches a series of attacks on Murrow and his colleagues, accusing them of being communist sympathizers and traitors to the country. And Murrow responds by dedicating a whole episode of See It Now to exposing McCarthy's
really bad, baseless accusations, though. He's like, because eventually Murrow responds to all those. And he's just like, he accuses me of being a member of this organization. I've never been a member of this organization. I've never applied to be a member of this organization. It's all just like horseshit. like a lot of this stuff was.
Yeah. So these guys go through their episode, and yeah, this was leading to one of my favorite scenes here, which we'll get into. Basically, he's given the spiel about
Perhaps you will
McCarthy
permit me to read a few sentences just at the end, because I would like to say rather precisely what I mean. We have told the Air Force that we will provide facilities for any comment, criticism, or correction.
Is this my favorite scene?
In regard to the case of Milo Radulovich.
No, this is mine. Yours is different.
We are unable to judge the charges
They just
against
both
the
happen to
lieutenant's
kind of be
father
the
or
same.
sister, because neither we, nor you, nor they, nor the lawyers, nor the lieutenant know precisely what was contained in that manila envelope.
Such
Was
good
it hearsay,
delivery.
rumor, gossip, slander, or hard ascertainable
The
facts that could be
pinlight
backed by
eye
credible
highlights in
witnesses?
this movie, I love.
We do not know. We believe the son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, even though that iniquity be proved, and in this case it was not. But we believe, too, that this case illustrates the urgent need for the armed forces to communicate more fully than they have so far done the procedures and regulations to be followed in attempting to protect the national security and the rights of the individual at the same time. Whatever happens in this whole area of the relationship between the individual and the state, we will do it ourselves. It cannot be blamed on Malenkoff.
Oh man, I wish the news was still the news.
And it seems to us, that is Fred Friendly and myself, that this is a subject.
Yeah, they take it all. They take the brunt of everything, him and Fred.
Yeah.
Good night.
They even pay because like a bunch of the advertisers pull their ads, so they're just like, well, how much are those ads? And they're like $3,000. He's just like, me and Fred will pay for it, and Fred's not even there to agree to this shit. So he's just like tells Fred later, it's like, oh yeah, you're on the hook for $1,500, just a lot in the 50s.
Absolutely, just like throwing him under the bus, you know.
Oh yeah, it was pretty fun. Their relationship was pretty funny.
So
the thing about this though,
yeah,
this scene, the point he's making there really is, even if all the things McCarthy generally say about people are true, they're still meaningless. Like, it's like, since when is exposing yourself to ideas a crime? Yeah, you know what I mean? Even if you went to a communist meeting, what's wrong with learning about communism?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
like it's all just so ridiculous and baseless and witch hunty. Just like they might as well start throwing people in the river to see if they float.
Yeah. No, it's just they're literally drumping on anybody. It's like, oh, was that meeting any really related to communism? You're working for the Russians? Well, we're gonna put you on trial and take your jobs away and like throw you under the bus and just completely like ruin your life. And it got to such a ridiculous degree that yeah, like thankfully Murrow and Fred were like, okay, we got to talk about this. We got to let the people know. This is
Mhm.
to anybody that's like under the age of let's say 25, and this is generous. McCarthy is equivalent to like Alex Jones or like Ben Shapiro, but he
If
was
those
actually a
people were
senator.
actually politicians, so no, he's actually closer to Donald Trump.
He's closer to Donald Trump and like Ted Cruz and stuff. True, yeah, but
Yeah,
he
yeah,
has the
yeah, yeah.
sensationalism of like Alex Jones and Ben
Oh, yeah.
Shapiro in that sort of like sense, and he was
Where they'll
basically
just pull
explaining
shit out of their ass.
communism. Yeah,
Like,
exactly right. So it was really
but
cool to
again,
see
so, yeah,
Lamro on them. So
yeah,
yeah, so these guys basically they do their broadcast, and then we get introduced to Ray Wise as Don Hollenbeck,
Ray Wise.
who comes
Another
in.
actor I enjoy a lot. Ray Wise has done some good guest spots on Star Trek as well. Great actor.
Yeah, he plays Hollenbeck, a great portrayal of Hollenbeck, in my
Mhm.
opinion.
His
Um,
story is very sad.
it is very sad. So yeah,
I love
tensions
these
mount
little
between Murrow.
cuts of her, this singer singing jazz too. I'm all
So
about that.
yeah, quick little movie morsel about that. Precisely every 23 minutes, the standard running time of television
Yeah,
shows
yeah,
from the 1950s. The film is punctuated by a jazz song performed by Diana Reeves. Diana
awesome.
Reeves here also plays a jazz singer in Guilty by Suspicion from 1991, which also deals with McCarthyism. So yeah, Diane Reeves rocking it with these like jazz portions every 23 minutes,
Mhm.
almost on the spot. There's a lot of time jumping in this film. They're
Yep,
they're going to like these key moments, which is all good and stuff.
which we can
So
do
yeah,
here
the
to speed up the yada yada as well.
yeah, that's what I'm getting to. So the tensions mount. Murrow and his team must decide whether to continue the coverage of McCarthy and risk their careers in the future of their network, or back down and avoid further confrontation. The film also explores the personal lives of the characters, including Murrow's relationship with his wife Janet, played by Tate Donovan, and the challenges faced by CBS executive William Paley, played by Frank Langella, and Sid Mickelson, played by Jeff Daniels. As they try to balance the network's obligations to its shareholders with its journalistic responsibilities. Uh, the climax of the film comes when Murrow and McCarthy finally face off in a live television debate. McCarthy tries to defend his actions, but Murrow manages to expose his lies and inconsistencies.
Mhm.
Uh, the public turns against him, and I believe this was your favorite scene. If I'm wrong, I might be wrong, but this is where we get up to your favorite scene.
Earlier, the senator asked, "Upon what meat does this our Caesar feed?" Had he looked 3 lines earlier in Shakespeare's Caesar, he would have found this line, which is not altogether inappropriate. "The
Love
fault,
this
dear
line.
Brutus, is not in our stars,
In our
but in
stars, but in
ourselves."
ourselves.
No one familiar with the history of this country can deny that congressional committees are useful. It is necessary to investigate before legislating, but the line between investigating and prosecuting is a very fine one, and the junior senator from Wisconsin has stepped over it repeatedly. We must not confuse
Mhm.
dissent with disloyalty. We must
Yeah,
remember
man.
always that accusation is not proof, and that conviction depends upon evidence and due process of law.
See this
We will not walk
in
in
the
fear
internet
into
age,
the
people
night.
should listen to this
We will not
speech a
be
little
driven
bit.
by fear into an age of
Accusations are
unreasons
not
to
proof.
dig deep in our history and our doctrine. And remember that we are not descended from fearful men, not from men who feared to write, to associate, to speak, and to defend the causes that were for the moment unpopular. This is no time for men who oppose Senator McCarthy's methods to keep silent, or for those who approve. We can deny our heritage and our history, but we cannot escape responsibility for the results. We proclaim ourselves, indeed, as we are, the defenders of freedom wherever it continues to exist in the world. But we cannot defend freedom abroad by deserting it at home. The actions of the junior senator from Wisconsin have caused alarm and dismay amongst our allies abroad and given considerable comfort to our enemies. And whose fault is that? Not really his. He didn't create this situation of fear. He merely exploited it, and rather successfully. Cassius was right. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves. Good night, and good luck.
I love that ending too. Good night and good luck is a perfect
Such a
thing to
solid-
say at the end of it. He's just, man, this guy's so classy.
Kills it. So yeah,
I love that. Like I said, I love Shakespeare. I love history, so that worked for me. I've always loved that line from Julius Caesar, which was the first Shakespeare play I ever read. Um, and they've used that in Star Trek as well. Garrick says it actually. Yeah. And so again, love it. Whenever that line shows up in anything, I get excited. And it was just a great scene overall. So yeah, that's my scene for sure.
So yeah, McCarthy tries to defend his actions, but Murrow manages to expose his lies and inconsistencies, and the public turns against him. Murrow's reporting on McCarthy is credited with helping to bring about his downfall, and the film serves as a powerful reminder of importance on a free press and the dangers of government overreach and propaganda. Other key characters in this scene, this is where they're told that he's being brought in front of, or that McCarthy's basically being brought in front of Senate for his accusations, and that he might get in. Everybody sort of celebrates, but at this time they also find out that Ray Wise's character, Hollenbreck, has committed suicide via gas inhalation.
And he tried to find a different way out. Like he was feeling the stress and the pressure from all of this, and he goes to Murrow and he says, "Look, man, I need you to like fight these people that are coming after me." And he's just like, "I can't fight two wars. I can fight McCarthy or I can fight them. You know, I'm fighting McCarthy." He's just like, "So just, don't watch TV." He tells him, "Just go home, don't read the papers. Like just live your life." And this guy can't manage to do that, unfortunately. But this happened in the McCarthy area, like people, because again, accusations. This isn't the internet age where you could just like type on the internet and try to find out if the accusations are true. People would just believe it. They're like, well, if it's said, it must be true. Yeah, it's yeah.
Get that sort of like
Just get
shocking
them.
realization. Hollenbrook's down, and it all just sort of, you get the fallout between all this, where Murrow and Friendly more or less get their comeuppance. Other key characters in the film include Joe Wersherba, played by Robert Downey Jr., Murrow's trusted colleague, and Shirley Wersherba, played by cousin Patricia Clarkson, Joe's wife, and a member of Murrow's team, and Don Hollenbeck, played by Ray Wise, another CBS reporter, who becomes a target of the McCarthy's attacks. Throughout the film, the pressure on Murrow and his teammate mounts as they face not only McCarthy's attacks, but also the fear of paranoia of the era. They must navigate their own relationships and personal lives while also navigating the complex politics of the media and the government around them. There's,
and he loses. Murrow loses in the end, in a way.
Yeah, Murrow loses in the end.
He wins in the public opinion in what he was trying to do, but he gets shit canned.
Yeah, basically, he's for the cost of his show, he's getting cut out for basically CBS version of reality television at this point. Joe and Patricia,
even before that, like they get better ratings when he just interviews somebody, like some celebrity that he has no interest in doing. He's just like, I hate these friggin' celebrity interviews.
Yeah, well, that was.
But that's where the ratings come from. So they're like, you owe me 3 more celebrity interviews, dick. Like,
yeah, that was his trade-off for doing the news articles about McCarthy and Regulio. I probably just pronounced that name wrong. But yeah, that was his trade-off to do celebrity interviews. We get the scene here with Robert Downey's Joe and Patricia Shirley Wishaba. They're confronted by Jeff Daniels, who's like, "Listen, we're making cutbacks. Save somebody's job. One of you step down," which Joe does without question.
He's like, "You're married, and that's against company policy. So it's like,
we all know
you both go or one of you go."
Yeah, exactly. So Joe does the honorable thing and he bows out. Later to be found, he actually ended up getting back to CBS. That's one of my movie morsels. I'll touch on that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, these guys basically face the Pied Piper. They're told that they got like 3 more shows left, and you know, Murrow and Friendly, they don't regret it. Goodbye and Good Luck features strong performances from his cast, including Stratton's portrayal of Murrow as a principled and fearless journalist, and Clooney's turn as the determined producer stands by him. It's a compelling historical drama that illuminates a crucial moment in American history. Its relevance and resonance continue to be felt today. The film serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of journalism in a free society and the dangers of censorship and propaganda.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super relevant today. Like, this is a great movie. Yeah, that was a nice, brisk go through the plot there, Murphy. Well done. Well done,
I had
sir.
the other 2 written out, but I got so like caught up in playing with the screenshots, I just kind of went off the cuff and I was like, let's see how these go, and I just went too long. So I'll just stick with the written stuff from here on out.
Okay. Very good. I mean, an hour about UHF, too long.
I don't think so.
15 minutes. 15 minutes would have been great. Which
Please,
performance would you hold up?
I mean, how can you not think Stratton's performance? Like, the man...
Strathairn.
Strathairn. David Strathairn. Strathairn. Anyway, David's portrayal in this film, like, there's a reason this man was nominated an Oscar. There's probably a reason why.
Oh, for this, was he?
Oh, yeah, he was nominated for an Oscar
for
this performance. It's his only Oscar nom. And, yeah, it's like, good Lord, like, wow, such a strong, powerful. There wasn't a moment I was like, wow, I just couldn't. I wasn't sucked in by every word he said, every moment he was on screen, every puff of cigarette, every pinpoint glint of light in his eye. There was like one scene early on where they're like in the dark room watching like dailies, and there's just like literally pinhole light reflections in his eye, and I'm like, man, the light they're using must be like 300 feet back or something. Like, I was, as a cinematographer, I was enamored with
he's flawless in this role, and he's even funny. Like, in the scenes where he's not on camera and they're just in like the writer's room or whatever, he cracks jokes and makes like the group laugh and stuff. He's definitely a great character. So yeah, I'll have to agree with you, David Strathairn. I'll give a shout out to Cousin Patricia. You're muted, Murphy.
Sorry, yeah. So yeah, Cousin Patricia, although those scenes are brief, she was fun too.
Yeah, she's good in everything. Well, let's get to some. Well, the setting aesthetic, gorgeous. Black and white was the way to go.
It was really hard for me not to
take
a screenshot of every frame in this film.
Yeah.
Of every single frame of this film. It was really hard for me not to take a screenshot because everything was like a painting. It was just.
I think it's
phenomenally shot.
Yeah. I think it's good that we went through the plot quickly, because I think people should go watch this and enjoy it. Like, so the less we talked about it, the better. We spoiled some major points, but like,
hey Trek,
go watch this movie. Hey Trek reviewer.
So yeah, no, it's supremely great film. Yeah, it's just gorgeous. It was the best movie.
What is the best movie snack?
Junior,
I mean, it's popcorn. I'm a classic
mints.
guy.
Junior mints, baby.
How many Junior mints can you eat in a sitting?
At least during a movie. Yeah, I could eat a whole box.
Oh my God, that's no good. All that.
I mean,
Junior mint
to be
on your
fair,
stomach in one sitting?
used to. I used to. I can't eat Junior mints anymore now. There's, the milk product in them. I don't eat them anymore. But back in the day, Junior mints were my go-to. Actually, you know what? The best movie snack is, Pizza Hut mini pizzas.
Nothing from Pizza Hut is the best anything.
No, bruh. I'm telling you, the Empire theaters, when they had the Pizza Hut in the Bears theater, right?
I remember.
Their mini pizzas. My grandfather and I would get a mini pizza.
I used to get
every
them.
Movie. They were so.
They just tasted
good,
like
dude.
McDonald's pizza.
That's why they were so fucking good, dude. Like, come on. Like, do you not?
I'll
Like, I
admit,
miss
when I was a
McDonald's
kid, I
pizza.
loved both those pizzas.
God damn,
Yeah,
McDonald's
actually,
pizza
when
was...
McDonald's got rid of their pizza, I haven't been to McDonald's since.
Yeah.
I was
I,
like
I
12.
shit you not. Even as a vegan, if McDonald's is like, we're bringing back McDonald's pizza, I'd be like, okay, I
I'm gonna
will.
go get one into me.
I will get one. I will get one. I will sacrifice my veganism to taste this childhood once again.
There you go.
Just once. And I will take 50 lashes for it if I must. But goddamn, I'll
give you 10 or 15 of those 50.
you do enough of that verbally, sir.
Yeah, fair
but yeah,
enough.
aesthetics were amazing. Let's get into some movie morsels, shall we?
Yeah, we. See?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Yeah, popcorn's all-time classic, hands down. So yeah, movie morsels for Good Night and Good Luck. In the film, Joe and Shirley Rashaba's secret marriage is found out, and Joe voluntarily quits to avoid being fired. Joe Rashaba would spend 6 years writing for the New York Post before returning to CBS when CBS policies regarding married coworkers had changed. He would be one of the original producers for another hit news show, 60 Minutes.
Oh, I thought you might say 60 minutes. Well.
When William Paley, Frank Langella, meets with Edward R. Murrow and Fred Friendly.
Angela. I'll handle the names on this show. Whenever somebody's name comes up, I'll say it, and then you do the rest of the plot.
That's fair. Okay, I'm cool with that because I'm
right.
struggling. So yeah, Fred Friendly in his office to tell them that he's moving their show to Sunday afternoons. He replies to one of Murrow's objections with the line, "You should teach journalism, you and Mr. Friendly." In fact, years after leaving CBS, Friendly would go on to teach journalism at Columbia University. Each morning, George Clooney would gather his cast members together and give them copies of the newspapers from that day in 1953.
That's a good idea.
He then give them an hour and a half working on old manual typewriters to copy out the stories from the paper. He would then hold an improvised news conference with hidden cameras in which the cast members would then pitch their stories to the editor just like a real newsroom.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Some method shit there.
Super method. I mentioned the 23 minutes jazz routines with Diane Reeves, David Stratton not smoking. During the DVD commentary During the DVD commentary for this film, George Clooney says that about 20% of the test audience had never heard of Joseph McCarthy before, and they wanted to know the identity of the actor playing him when McCarthy appears. Of course, the actual footage of the real.
That's crazy, because that would have been an American test audience, and they should know. They should know that.
Joseph Ray McCarthy, 1908 to 1957, was the Republican junior senator from Wisconsin from 1947 to 57 when he died in office. I wonder if he died actually in office or...
He died of extreme paranoia.
Yeah. Or maybe the
on a case.
Reds actually got him.
Maybe the Reds. He was right all along.
I mentioned earlier, George was extremely nervous about showing this to his father, Nick, a newsman himself. Nick Clooney got up after watching it and said, "You got it right, kid." Initially, the famous concluded catchphrase, "Good night and good luck," that became the title of the film, was a habit Edward R. Murrow kept from his London years as a war reporter for the radio. Then British people...
good luck is something you'd want.
Under constant night German bombings, systematically ended their conversations with the very same words, uncertain they would meet again.
It's another thing McCarthy threw at Murrow. He's just like, "Oh, this communist from Britain loves Murrow's work." And he's like, "Dude, he loved my war reporting when I was in there doing war reporting." Like, what?
It's like you completely misconstrued it. So the entire set was built on one floor. The elevator interior was built on a turntable, so it would be rotated to a new floor during unbroken shots. In one scene, I thought this was clever. In one scene, the CBS records office is represented by a false wall that was then raised out of shot while the door was closed. So it's like, that's just good stage management there. And then the final one, and you have to wait to hear this, but you'll come back to it. So most of the text, Edward R. Murrow's speech, bookending the movie here. I'm going to bring up the screenshot for this because I wanted to showcase the scene, but if you want to see this scene, go watch the movie. But yeah, for the most of the text of Edward R. Murrow's speech, bookending the movie, is taken word for word from the actual keynote address he delivered in the 1958 radio television news DA. I don't know what the D stands for, and the A. I don't know what the DA stands for. Convention. The actual conclusion in the speech followed Murrow's line about television being used strictly for entertainment rather than education and being nothing more than wires and lights in a box. It went as follows. There is a great and perhaps decisive battle to be fought against ignorance, intolerance, and indifference. This weapon of television could be useful. Stonewall Jackson, who knew something about the use of weapons, is reported to have said, "When war comes, you must draw the sword and then throw away the scabbard. The trouble with television is that it is rusting in the scabbard during a battle for survival." Is that it is rusting in the scabbard during okay, I'm terribly misquoting this, but you should just watch this film, Davan, you have no audio.
Yeah, don't rely on Murphy to act this movie out for you.
No, don't. No, there's far better actors who've already acted out this film, and you should absolutely watch this movie.
There are better actors within this United Federation of podcasts. So.
Truth. Cinematography by Robert Elswis, edited by Stephen Maroney. Release date of October 7th, 2005, with a runtime of 93 minutes. Real short, real sweet. A budget of $7 million. And the most successful movie of the night. With
so inexpensive for these days.
With a box office of $54.6 million.
Now that's a profitable
huge
movie.
Return. That is a profitable movie. That is a profitable movie. So yeah.
All right. Rewatchability.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's just so good. Normally, this is the kind of movie where you'd probably want to take some time before watching it again, but not this one. Murphy watched it twice in succession.
Yeah, I legitimately I watched it one day and I was like, I don't know if I got this, and I was like, I need to watch it again, so I watched it the next morning, and I was more into it the second time watching it. I could see myself watching it again, many times. Honestly, it was just if this is. I don't know how many films George Clooney's directed, but this is probably his best film. Even George Clooney is like, this is my best film ever.
I think he directed that one that he also starred in. What was it, like Syriana or something like that?
Well, that's the thing. Apparently, he got the so he was supposed to have somebody do the cinematography for this film, but they couldn't do it. So he actually had the cinematography for Syriana come in and do this film, which was pretty killer. So yeah, I would definitely agree for rewatchability. Does this film hold up? I would say yes, without a shadow of a doubt. This film holds up.
Without a shadow.
This film not only does it hold up, it's going to hold up for another 50 years, if not more.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a film
this could be a timeless classic.
Yeah,
for as far as like historical kind of set pieces go.
Their ability to meld history and the modern era of film together was just done so seamlessly and so well executed that it's like, as a filmmaker, I was like well done. Like, truly. Like, all right.
Yeah, and as a history buff, it did the same for me. I was just like, damn it, you nailed it. It's like
I went into this movie with very low, I'm gonna be bored out of my skull, I think I picked a bad movie expectations, only to come out being like, oh, this movie's actually supremely good and probably the best movie I've picked so far on this podcast. So
oh wow. Yeah. Oh, the best movie you've picked? Yeah. Oh yeah. You picked some stinkers. No offense. Let me see. We do have a chart. Hold on now. Well, yeah, so we both agree this one holds up. Let's quickly do our television movie rankings. I think we know what we're going to say. For me, it's Good Night and Good Luck, Stay Tuned, and UHF.
Yeah, that's Good Night, Good Luck, UHF, and Stay Tuned.
I thought you might. All right, well, let's bring this up here. We have our new sheet. Sam, you'll be proud. We have another chart. You love our charts.
Yeah, we got a chart made just for you, Sam. This is
for you, Sam.
For you.
It's for you, Sammy boy. All right, so look, we've got a lot of A movies. It's not the majority of movies, but we've got more A movies than B's or C's. In fact, C movies have the least amount, so we're not overly critical here. But yes, stay tuned and good night and good luck. Can you see this, Murphy?
Yeah. I
Oh
can
yeah,
see it,
you
no
can see
problem.
that. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So good night and good luck. Stay tuned. Join the A column.
I
UHF
feel
over
like
there in
Stay
the B
Tuned should be a
column.
B movie because it's. But like, I get that I said
Me
it
too.
holds up, so it sits
Me
as
too.
stay
But
movie. In
but
my
it
heart
does
of
hold.
hearts,
It's
it's a B
actually
movie.
pretty
though.
good. It's more like an A minus.
It's an A minus film. Yes, I will. It's
Yeah.
an A minus film.
It's yeah.
And I feel like
We've had a
UHF
few
should be
B
an A
pluses.
minus.
We've had a few
but
caveats. We don't write that down, but
UHF is a
within
B plus.
within
Don't
these
listen to what he
categories,
says.
there are better movies than others for sure.
UHF's a B plus. Don't listen to what he says.
God, it's like a C plus. But yeah, so do you really think so? Of all these A movies here in this chart, do you think Good Night and Good Luck is your favorite, or just your favorite of the ones you picked?
I mean, out of the A charts, yeah, Good Night and Good Luck is my favorite.
Like it better than Werewolf by Night, which you loved.
Yeah, no, supremely much.
Like it,
It's definitely
like
the
it better
better
than
black and white
Matinee.
film. Yes.
Okay, wow. So this is like your favorite movie on the podcast so far, and you didn't even like it the first time you watched it.
Is this? Yeah, I suppose this probably is my favorite movie on the podcast, next to like UHF, which is just pure nostalgia, and I would say Tokyo Godfathers and Doctor Strangelove.
Doctor Strangelove's
and North
probably
by
my
Northwest
favorite on
too.
this list. And Matinee, I love Matinee.
If I had to pick top three, Good Night, Good Luck, North by Northwest, and Doctor Strangelove. Those are the top three for me so far. Well, you know what?
We're gonna do a season-ending special where we'll talk
a review show, if you will, with hopefully some special guests if they're available. I think that'll.
Oh, they'll be available.
We'll make it so.
Make me shake my fist faster and higher. They'll be there.
Shit.
Two great fans of this show. That
We're doing good time tonight. We might be able to get out of this real quick here. Should we wrap this up?
Oh, yeah,
Let
we can
people
get out
know
of
about
here.
our federation.
Good time. We're almost at 3 hours. Anyway.
I mean, it could be worse. We could be over 3. So, I mean, you know what? Next episode will be even better. I'm going to stick to the brief written descriptions and we'll be fine.
Yep. All right. Well, we're a member of a united federation of podcasts. You may not know this, but it's true. It's very true. Look at the banner to prove it.
United.
Yeah. So, well, sometimes I get a little snippy.
You're the cold splash of water in all of our face.
I am the cold splash of water in the face of the UFP. Exactly right. We get a lot of dreamers here, and every now and then they need a dose of reality, but that's fun.
Hey!
Jaemeel, did you hear us just talking about the review special at the end of the season? That's you and Andre going to come on and talk to us about the whole season 1.
He's volunteered you. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah, I volunteered you.
Well, you know what? It's fair because the true currency spare change has been lagging behind. I have been making my notes and making my clips. Unfortunately, I've been running the Super Mater Brothers this week and last week, so I've been a little bit busy. That and baking pies and doing podcasts.
Jaemeel, is UHF a good movie?
Okay.
Is it offensive?
Okay. So those are two different questions with two different answers.
Okay.
Is UHF is UHF a good movie? It is a movie.
It's a movie.
It is.
I guess
it's one that I can sit down and enjoy. So if someone were to ask me, is it a good movie? It's like that's not the point of the movie.
No.
Right? The point of the movie is to kind of just chuckle at how ridiculous it is. Right? Is it offensive? Oh, yes, it is offensive.
Me? Murphy, it's terribly offensive. Murphy's like, how is it offensive? I'm like, are we watching the same movie?
It's offensive. But that's
So
okay.
offensive.
That's okay. Blazing Saddles is offensive, right?
True.
Right. So,
Which I like. If we do westerns, we should throw that one on the list. Just saying.
have you seen Blazing Saddles?
I've never honestly seen Blazing
Oh,
Saddles.
dude. Get ready. Buckle up. Because a lot of that does not play nowadays with today's sensibilities. Sorry, I just kind of jumped in right after we finished Super Mario Brothers. Where are you all? I hate to think you've been going on for 241. So
we're done. We were just
done?
doing
Yeah,
the.
we just finished.
We're
Yeah,
at X-rated the X-Men. You know the plugs.
Oh, awesome. So okay, let me do a plug. Folks, who are watching Hold Up, watch more Hold Up. There are past episodes for you to watch, and definitely they're worthwhile. Even last week's episode, which I have a lot of thoughts.
Really?
Last episode, I have a lot of thoughts.
Who needs a talking to, me or Murphy?
Both of you, Mr. Who's that guy, aka Lane Smith, and what? You don't like Breaking Bad, Chris Murphy?
Oh yeah, Murphy yelling at me for a half hour about Breaking Bad.
I was literally.
I heard you weren't a fan, Jaemeel. It broke my heart.
I'm not a fan of Breaking Bad. I'm not a fan.
It's not good.
Don't get me started.
It's like it's like a show that's pretending it's good, just like Weird Al's pretending he's funny.
Okay, I will defend Weird Al. I am a big fan of Weird Al. I've seen him live. I love a lot of his discography. I feel that he takes himself too much of a joke sometimes, because he does have talent, and he plays off his skills as a joke, which is kind of offensive when you like him a lot. So there's that. But once again, Spare Change is coming. Let's leave some on the ground for everyone to pick up later on.
Love it.
The reason I'm looking forward to this season-ending special is it's just going to be like 2 hours of you and Andre telling me and Murphy what idiots we are.
I'm getting the clips already.
Yeah, be ready.
I didn't understand how you didn't get the ending of Network at all. Didn't make any sense to me.
Wait, who?
Huh?
Wait, me?
Both of you. Both of you did not get the ending of Network.
What happened at the end that we didn't get?
You Spare Change. Sorry, Spare Change.
All right,
fair
enough.
Fair enough.
We got
Fair
some
enough.
spare change coming where Jaemeel explains all the
We
mistakes
got
we
some
made.
spare
as well.
change and some receipts coming our way.
We need this. Yeah,
Yes.
it's true.
So what's up? What's next? X-Rated. You talked about that great show.
X-rated. Yeah. Oh my God, go back and watch yesterday's episode if you want to see.
I
me at my
tuned in
worst.
halfway through, and I could tell you were hammered. I was like, "Oh,
my
he's
God.
tipped. He's tipped over."
He's the culprit.
What, some Guinness?
Yeah.
Some
Oh
Guinness?
yeah. No, some JP Weiser's Deluxe.
Ooh.
Nothing too fancy.
Okay.
I drank all my fancy birthday whiskey long before this. Well, this is birthday whiskey too. It's not the fanciest of the birthday whiskey.
I haven't tried that before. I'll check that out. I'll make a note.
Oh, Weiser's is good. Weiser's is good. It's for like a cheaper whiskey. Weiser's.
There's nothing wrong with cheap.
No. So yeah, check that out. Where it was Proteus Part 1. At some point, the whiskey takes over as the hosting duties instead of me. And then the show goes for like it was as long as this. We just talked about 3 movies. We talked about a 22-minute cartoon for this long yesterday.
You can see Andre's struggle in the podcast.
Oh yeah, the first thing I this morning I look at my phone and it's a message from Andre. He's like, "How you feeling this morning?" I'm like, yeah.
It's great.
The funniest thing though is we got to our X points, and I say my X point, my second X point, and then by the time we've got to the 4th X point, I had already forgotten that I did the same X point for my second X point, and I'm saying the same X point again, and Andre's just like, "You said that when I'm already," and I like start arguing with him. I'm like, "No, I didn't," and I say the whole thing again, and then when I woke up this morning, the first thing I thought to myself was like, "Oh no, I forgot to talk about that Greek mythology X point," even though I had done it twice. I still thought I hadn't even done it. So I transcended. I went to the friggin' Shadow Realm and the Promised Land everything last night on X-Rated.
Needless to say, it's an episode of X-Rated that shouldn't be missed.
Yes.
Yeah. The next holdup will be on the internet with hackers.
Yes, love it.
The net.
And Guns
Akimbo.
Yes. Yes.
I've never.
So Zero Bird. We're gonna see Zero Bird in action. Fisher Stevens not playing an Indian dude. That's great.
We got a couple of guests for this episode. A couple of buddies of mine. Very funny fellows.
Podcast, horror podcast.
No. These guys aren't in my podcast. These are just my ping pong buddies from back home. We grew up together. You know,
that looks like it's going to be a really good a really good episode. I already love 2 out of 3 movies. One I haven't seen. I've been meaning to. It's been on my list for a while.
2 of them I haven't seen.
It's been a long
time since I've seen Hackers. It's been a long time, but I have seen Hackers. But it's been a long time.
There's a movie on this list. I haven't seen any of them.
Murphy,
Hackers.
You work.
Hackers is a friggin' time capsule of
dude
that era of friggin' internet.
Dude. Oh my gosh, Murphy.
He's a young man, Jaemeel. He's a young man.
I guess.
I'm gonna be 37 tomorrow.
Which that doesn't make any sense. How you've never seen Hackers before?
Just never never
somebody who's Angelina Jolie at the height of her powers.
Height of her powers, like before the beginning of her powers.
Isn't Matthew Lillard in this film too?
Yeah, Matthew Lillard, Fisher Stevens.
I do love me some Matthew Lillard.
What, you don't love Fisher Stevens? Sorry, apologize for that. You don't love Fisher Stevens?
I don't know Fisher Stevens.
Okay, I'll name off 2 movies from Fisher Stevens, and you tell me who he plays.
Okay.
Short Circuit and Short Circuit 2.
Oh, he's the robot.
Okay.
I don't know if I saw Short Circuit 2.
Short Circuit 2 is the superior one. You don't get to see Steve Guttenberg get outacted by a robot.
So it's the Gremlins 2 of Short Circuit movies?
Sure.
I don't agree with that, Jaemeel.
Fisher Stevens.
That was slander.
Fisher Stevens dons brown face to play an Indian man.
Oh my god!
In both Short Circuit and Short Circuit 2.
Oh, Fisher Stevens. Oh, that guy.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh. You better not have a theme where I can slot.
They should have cast him in UHF.
Hey, if there's a slot for Short Circuit 2, I'm putting it in there.
All right. Well, there's robots.
Oof.
We have a robots theme coming next season.
Okay. Continue on. Graphics history.
Graphic histories. You guys are wrestling fans, yeah?
Yes.
We are.
Next interview is with Kurgan of WWE fame, Robert Maillet.
Yes.
And also many fine acting roles as well.
Like 300.
I met that man. I briefly met Kurgan at HalCon, Halifax Convention. It was like the first HalCon. He was in an elevator. He's a very tall and a very nice man.
Took up the entire elevator.
Yeah, took up the entire elevator. No word of a lie. I was like, oh my god, that's Kurgan from what was their team? It was like
the Oddities.
Like the Oddities, yeah. I was like, it's Kurgan from the Oddities. that was my mental. I was like, oh god. So yeah, no, he was great. And a perfect segue for wrestling. We got a wrestling trivial debates actually coming up. April 1st. I'll be hosting with Jaemeel being a contestant. Andre Mayette, who's actually a pro wrestling old school Andre Mayette, and the introduction of Jason R. Phillips from Hey, Do You Know That One podcast. He's stepping in. He's also
okay. I feel bad. I've been calling him Ryan, and whoever that guy is, I'm going to crush him. In all the plugs I've had this week. So Jason from
Hey, Did You Know That One podcast, where these guys will spend like 3 hours talking about one movie, which is pretty funny in my opinion.
Yeah, because we think we're long-winded here. So what's going on over at Super Mater Brothers, Jaemeel?
Well, we did Big Brother earlier this week, and we did Survivor tonight, and we're doing another episode of Big Brother. Dave is away, so I'm running the ship, and you know what that means? All episodes are under an hour. We hit it and quit it, right?
There you
So
go.
if you want a long-winded episode, Dave is
He's in
coming
Jamaica.
back.
He's hitting it too. Don't worry.
Oh yes, I just hit my headphones out of it. That exclamation.
Also, KBBBL podcast every Friday. We're on, what are we at? Simpson and Delilah this Friday. We were off last week for technical difficulties. But we're back with Simpson and Delilah. Great episode.
Give me a heads up
we're
when
in
my
season.
episode's coming up too. So I would pick the Daredevil Bard episode where he jumps the cliff and shit.
Oh yeah, I think that's like next season. That's not for a while yet.
I think it's season 3, yeah.
That answers your question, Sam, if I'm ever going to be on KBBBL.
Oh yeah, Sam didn't want to know that. There you go, Sam, if you're still here. And also, do I have more podcasts? You bet I do, because I'm a content machine. And Locutors of Trek, though we haven't done much there quite recently, but there's exciting things brewing at Locutors of Trek Day right now. I think, and we have, and we're gonna in the science division, we have an all ladies edition of Debate 9 coming up. Oh, that's gonna be
nice.
fun.
Sisters are doing it for themselves. Women are getting it done.
Yes, they are. About time.
Yeah,
about time.
Even hosted by a lady or you?
No. Host Ashley Millard. She's already a Locutors of Trek host. She can handle it.
Fabulous.
I'll be there producing, but I will not be on screen or saying anything.
Will Worf be there?
Might say some stuff.
Speaking of Worf, we got some Star Trek reviews on Live Long and Podcast. We're doing Picard tomorrow. I'll be taking over the helm for Captain Dave. I'll be doing the hosting for that episode. Will I be seeing either of you fellas there tomorrow at all? Do I know?
I'll be there. I
might make an appearance.
This season's amazing.
Yeah,
I might make an appearance. I've been keeping I've been keeping up with this season, and all the Bourne action that we're getting.
All the Space and Bourne action.
One Space and Bourne scene.
Oh no, there's more. I'm doing my own cut right now. I'm doing my own cut.
Spare change. Wait for it.
No, this one's I'm gonna give it directly to the World Mind himself, so he can put up on the Live Long and Podcast TikTok for all your wonderful meme, your Davan approved meme needs. That's
the only memes I approve of is on my Simpsons podcast. And the odd Star Trek one, usually to do with Cisco or Worf or Garrick.
So
fair enough.
Tomorrow for Picard podcast or Picard episode review. Hopefully, Dav can come in and tell me why I'm terrible with the rankings of these episodes. Why I feel there's more to offer.
You're the cold splash of water on that Picard podcast. Drinking that, but it's more like cold splash of haterade.
There's no haterade. I'm being very I feel like the later episodes are going to be more, and I don't want to be wasting my tens on the early.
Yeah, but you can't base your rating off speculation.
Well, I'm willing to change my ratings proactively if ultimately the whole season lands on its feet. Then I'm willing to
Oh, they give me shit for changing my ratings. I do it all the time. And people are like, oh, classic Davan changing his ratings. I'm like, well, sometimes it needs to be done. Also, the Hellbound podcast, they just put out an episode called Cronenberg, where in classic Hellbound podcast style, they probably talk about Cronenberg for a couple minutes.
They talk more about donuts than anything.
Yeah, that's the Hellbound podcast. It's a great podcast. I listen to it, but talk about horror a whole lot.
I did enjoy Michael Chan's sort of examination on what roles actors are comfortable to play and stuff like that. It was really interesting to hear and stuff. We're a great podcast.
Episode.
Check it.
Listen, it is a great podcast.
Yeah, it's a good podcast. I'm gonna share some of Michael didn't want me to release it anymore. The Euro trip. I'm gonna share it internally, where we basically two podcasts dedicated to Euro trip. Two podcasts. Michael, Michael, Jessica, and myself, young in Dundas Square, in the middle of a food court, talking about Euro trip for 2 episodes.
Oh my god! Do you hear the food court in the background?
There's some ambient noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'm down. I'll listen to it for sure. Well, that's us. That's the United Federation of Podcasts. We might as well get out of here. Thanks for stopping by, Jaemeel. Always good to see you.
Always a pleasure. Try to make sure that we hit 3 hours every single time.
Exactly.
We were
You've done your job.
We were on time. We were gonna. I was pushing for 240 at that.
No, we were at an hour and Murphy was still talking about Weird Al, and I'm like, this podcast is gonna.
What's your favorite Weird Al song, Davan?
None.
Yeah, give us your favorite Weird Al song. There must be one that you actually kind of enjoy.
I don't know what, like I'm Fat or like Amish Paradise. I don't know. They're not good.
Really?
Like I don't know if I could pick one.
Wow,
I haven't heard a whole lot of Weird Al because like I don't enjoy it. I don't like
his original stuff is I feel his original stuff is a lot more interesting, honestly.
Probably is. But the only Weird Al I saw was the stuff they put up on Much Music or whatever, because I'm not gonna put on a Weird Al album.
Oh, that's fair enough. Well, I think you've put up with us enough. We're going to call it here at Hold Up, the movie podcast. We want to thank you for joining us for these movies about television. And next week, we're going to be covering movies on the internet. So enjoy those in the coming attractions. And as always, enjoy the movies. And good night and good luck.